Oh, right. Had to rethink how I had put this together. I found something that Tariq Nasheed said rather just compelling. It made me really think about, okay, let me take you totally seriously and really, because this is his bailiwick. And so I wanted to make sure to put it firstly. I'm coming from what our little circle calls the deep right. And we're not really the far right. This isn't about having kind of wild-eyed ideas about a world that simply could never be. No, we deal with the world absolutely as it is. And the key to it is the preservation of the constitutional republic is our bailiwick. And what we find interesting, we pass on to one another like more like an information network than like a group of buddies, where we become more and more kind of close on the internet in this way or another. But it's much. We have a kind of we have a mission. It's a sense of duty. It comes out of honor and honor culture. And honor culture is something that is very much frowned upon in the polite politics of the Democrats. And now Black Americans are finding this out because you're being dissed. The Democrats are dissing you, and now and because okay, Trump busted snaps. He was a guy who could bust snaps. Obama can't bust snaps. You do not try to pretend that growing up in Hawaii as in the circle of university intellectuals that his mom was around, and possibly members of the Subud organization, if anybody feels like looking that one up. That homie was sitting there busting snaps. No, he was very likely the guy selling the cocaine in his private school, as a member of the Choon Gang, and so one of the things I was really starting to think about is, yeah, you guys are getting dissed in Chicago, in New York, everywhere where there's concentrations of Black Americans. You are being shown openly by the Democrats you are the mascot that is no longer needed or required or wanted. And I think there's really, because of where I am in Oregon, I could really tell you, no, these people act like none of it happened. There wasn't hundreds of days, almost a year straight, of these nut jobs fucking trying to burn buildings down in Portland. There's not regularly groups of masked white people who show up places and intimidate people, that call black cops nigger and have no problem going there. They have no problem dropping that at the drop of a hat. And no, they're not alt-righters dressed up. No, I know. I know enough about these subcultures. This is my bailiwick. I've been in the mosh pit with these kind of people. So, yeah, these are communists, and you are useful. You, Tariq Nasheed, are useful to these white communists. You guys, Black Americans, have no interest in the political history of being used by white communists. And what it takes is getting ass hurt. So here it is, because there's a photo of Huey with the supposedly some kind of benefactor of his, who is this leftist Jewish guy, and they were doing he was on the down low, and that's why they were so sexually depraved as a movement. So they would have never succeeded because they're sexually depraved. That was a fundamental compromise. And so Black Americans don't want to deal with the sexual revolution and the quote-unquote soul girl. I collect soul music. You can't tell me. That's my bailiwick. You know, we Doc Martin Soul Boys. The people who know what that is know what that is. And so I know about like this because you came up with, the whole, buck breaking thing, is relatively preposterous. It really was comedy. I got to tell you, a lot of people on the right, they're like, dude, this is awesome. This is this is almost like a skit from Living Color. Like, this is amazing. This is hilarious. What is the deal with this guy? And it's like, yeah, no, really. Black people think this dude is a fucking scholar. But I just wanted to make sure that you get now that the right knew this was kind of coming. We knew that at some point the illegal immigration thing, which is a liberal white woman dream and scheme, really, truly, to just make sure to inexpensively keep their topiary cut. And nobody wants to deal with, that's all it is. Tacos, tequila, and cut my topiary. Nobody wants to deal with, they want to believe it's about engineers and future astronauts, and so no. Discount roof tilers. And you're getting dissed. And they're telling you that these people, you're out, these people are in. And here's what the deal is. And I could guarantee you, you're going to get Julian Assange. All of you who see this. I'm going to direct this to you, Tariq. You're going to get Julian Assange by them. The minute Julian turned in any way, he showed something that was absolutely legit and for real. And it made Obama or Hillary Clinton look bad. They turned on him at every level. Normal people on the left were suddenly like, oh, he's turned right wing. This is within moments of this happening. On a dime, bro. And you could try to play it cool, I'm a political, I've got this political. No, you don't understand these people. I know you don't. You don't know anything about Antifa and what was going on up here. This all started up here in the Northwest. These Antifa people, they weren't even really Antifa. They were fundamentally people who were the counter-protesters at an abortion protest who just assaulted the guys who were there. That's where Tiny Toessa comes from. Tiny Toessa was at that original protest at the Portland airport. And so the guy who's kind of the head of Rose City Antifa was the dude who stands over him as they knocked him out from behind, and then stands there and laughs at him and is like, you got knocked the fuck out, ha ha ha. And this guy looked like a crackhead bum back then. And so now then he started fashioning himself as an anti-fascist skinhead. So he could sell books, and he could pose in with that guy from Minnesota. With the fucking AG from Minnesota. That guy helped him sell his books. So just understand how, you guys don't even understand how the levels at which that plays you out, because you don't understand these subcultures, and you will answer to them, and you don't get them yet. But unless you're following the writings of Andy Ngo, and Andy Ngo has been following, what do these people do? Well, they like blowing things up. They like trying to burn things down. Remember, during BLM protests, these were the white people who were driving up to black people and handing them bricks. And don't worry, the SEIU is in on that. Was in on all of it. The SEIU was in on all of it. They were in on the Trump raid, the Trump rally raid in Chicago all those years ago. Vice News actually covered that. They were there. It was all pre-planned. Vice News was following a guy who was his first protest as a young black American college student. and he was so nervous and so excited, and they showed like there was all these members of the faculty who were helping organize this surprise protest in the middle of the rally. No, what they were doing was they were putting a bunch of guys who look like you, Tariq, in the middle of a fucking political rally, starting trouble, hoping it would happen, just hoping, just licking their chops. Oh, if this fucking could just happen. If we could just get that photo, that precious photo of some white man socking a black man. Oh, if we could just get that. And then think of how we could use this against all these people. And that everything has been done to do that. And Tariq, don't worry. You should deny that you guys got bamboozled and roped in. Lord Jamar said you did. Lord Jamar said BLM's not our movement, and he was talking about the 5% nation. Talk to him about it. You got bamboozled. You got fucking played. And now they're even denying that the killings and shootings and carjackings are even happening. They're saying it's not even happening because it takes 3 or 4 years for the National Crime Victim Survey to back up report numbers. And because there's not enough 911 people and enough police, you can't get the reports in. But we all get to see the website. That's the Gunshot, or was it Gun Death website? You know, a website usually just covered with black people, and now it's more and more it's women. And now, was it last week? Was it on the SEPTA there? Like that you know, like girls going to school, getting just somebody running up and just blasting them. And so nothing, you see, for the deep right, is we invest in the Christian psychic methods, such as disinterestedness. What is in our personal interest we have to acknowledge. Know thyself, as the saying goes. And then from there, and this is knowledge of self. This isn't some goofy amorphous mysticism that you know doesn't really mean a whole lot. Know thyself. That's you know, it's underivative. It's uncut. It's the pure 180 proof. And so you first recognize what your interests are, and then you start to view others. Well, the deep right just finally are people who the red pill showed them that the veil of disorder, that you could just throw tax money at things, you could just have some person in a suit tell you everything will be fine if you just give them some more money. You know, Colgate smile and cap teeth kind of people that really come across more like actors and actresses, and then end up millionaires after they serve in office. All of this, we started analyzing it from a cold point of view, because we were dissatisfied with the politics of the Democrats and the Republicans. Like, I bet, here's actually even an example of a few things, like a stack of this. I bet you didn't know that Richard Spencer was a Democratic voter until he was dissatisfied with the way that race politics were played by Barack Obama, by his own admission. His AlternativeRight.blogspot.com blog was an aggregator for his nonprofit organization, the National Policy Institute. See, I know about this. I read a lot of these blogs. I watched a lot of these various talks they had. Key to this is a lot of this wasn't about, like, get the blacks. We hate those people. No. He focused entirely on the future of whites and what is the structure of governance that is going to ensure their permanent rule. by the end of kind of all the story, Trump has been in office. Richard Spencer is pissed that Trump won't be a dictator, won't just make people do. People like me are realizing Trump totally underestimated exactly how nasty and big the Leviathan really was. But now, after during his tenure and then beyond that, how it moved became much easier to see. A la, say, boy, that guy, Lil Nas X, is obviously super popular because of his tremendous ability to freestyle. He was known as just this freestyle genius, and that's why everybody knows that he's such an amazing MC, or maybe it's something else. And Cat Williams just put us onto it. So, and BLM kind of makes us understand, like, no, you see, they like those kind of Negroes. So, look what they're doing. This is how they really are in prison. That's real black culture. That's a real black man doing real black things. Having chocolate love in prison. 'Cause that's how it really is. That's the real deal, man. Like oh my God, like middle class white liberal jazz fans of another era. Which, I mean, I'm indicting some of my own family. Just sometimes that's the real thing, brother. You know, that's, you know, you know, just you're like, oh God, you're so corny. Oh, it's so corny. But the crime, you're paying, you got to pay taxes. You got to pay taxes for these people who are going to replace you. They're immediately firing people from Tyson Chicken, hiring them. They're doing it right in front of you. That's a diss. You gotta accept that. If you don't accept that, it's because, you see, when the Republicans, there was those who were the MAGA, America First, pro-Trump, and when the Republicans would do something that, like, Lindsey Graham would be like, you know what we really need is to ban porn and abortion immediately, and so he would just sink. He would just sink the, you know. He would make it too hot, you know, and he would sink the whole operation, and we would know that, oh, he's just trying to get, you know, just trying to get the enemy to show up and unload on us, you know, like, you know, why is this guy playing us? And but it was a diss. We knew it was a diss, and so Lindsey Graham always gets mocked. He always gets booed. That's why Republicans boo their own now, because they're like, you dissed us. No, we came to the polls, we're giving you the power, and you diss us over and over and over again, and that ain't happening. And it's gang. It really is gang now. It's like, no, you can't run the gang. You're not Cyrus. You know, we're Cyrus, you know, you're working against Cyrus. You know, and the deep right perspective, that's kind of the view of it. We even joke around. There's a bunch of us who are kind of like on the edge of the black manosphere. We're the Gulag Gang, and you know, and there's my group. You know, the clandestine sodality. You know, that we have our little groups of people, and we share articles, we share information on that which concerns us. And and there's just times where every once in a while I just kind of like to be like, so you guys know what this looks like from the real point of view of the real right wing, right? You know, like, this is almost, if Richard Spencer fundamentally is winning, under the Democrats, Richard Spencer is winning. And if you think about all of his most colorful quotes, and you understand, he supported Joe Biden. By the end of the story, he was like, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden will use the government coercively against their political enemies in a way that Trump obviously won't. And so he supported Joe Biden. And now look, in the amazing quote of his, you will look up and you will always see a face that looks like me. And that's what's happening, isn't it? You know, if you object to men in dresses, if you have a problem with, like, say, somebody saying, Tariq Nasheed, your son really likes dresses, you're going to be answering to Richard Spencer and a room full of a bunch of diverse women in Richard Spencer, a man who you're not sure if he's gay. You kind of get the feeling he might be, but I mean, at the moment, you can't really think about that. They're about to take your kid because they're sure he needs his cock lopped off. He has to be filled full of drugs. Now, this Negro is going to dance for us. He's going to dance a little ballet for us. Oh, yeah. He's going to twerk. We're going to teach your son to twerk, Tariq. We're liberal white women, and you know what? We understand little boys need to be sensitive and learn how to twerk. Oh, yeah. No, don't teach him to box. Muhammad Ali was sexist. like James Brown. I hope you all really get that. That's when you get the feminist, like you're in the argument with your white feminist girlfriend, James Brown was a sexist. That's everything right there. He might have been soul brother number one or anything, but most importantly, he was sexist. And so, without understanding that that's the perspective on it, that's like, no, really, it's not much more than that. They'll kind of like a tune, but they'll like a tune so that they could get you to the point where then they could argue with you about how sexist James Brown is. So, I just thought I would just kind of give you a peep into the dark side. Because we keep up on you, actually, Tariq Nasheed. We do keep up on you. You do appear to be an important person to keep some tabs on because of your influence on Black Americans. And then now there's a lot of it, I got to tell you, like, you're not scaring anybody. We're kind of sitting back going, I don't know how this is supposed to improve Black American. I don't get this. Apparently hey, whatever. Yes, if black men just listen to these goddamn hoes, then the bastardy rate would drop from 70% to 69%. If black men just acted this way or that way, and it's like, no, the joke list 666 6 by 6 by 6 instantaneously tells anyone who understands from the deep right, my bailiwick genomics, people choose traits in mates for a period of time until there is a hierarchy that develops of a concentration of good traits. The other traits could be what they are, but there's a concentration of good traits. So high intelligence, good looking, and tall. And then for men, a lot of times, athleticism and ambition, this is the ideal mix. And there's only so many people in the world population of men that are over 6 feet tall. This actually tends to be a northern hemisphere phenomena, mostly of Europeans and Eurasians. So with other groups of people kind of catching up now that there's been an introduction of meat to so many people's diets across the world, and more frequently meat and a higher number of calories. So you see people actually reach genetic heights that nobody in their family has ever been that tall. And it's like, yeah, there's an expression, a full expression of that gene of tallness. And so that demand by women, well, that's not, most men aren't like that. Most men aren't going to be 6 foot or taller. not going to have giant penis. They're not going to be like the brainiest of the brainsters. You know, they're going to be what they are. And a lot of women don't understand that their good genetics also tend to cluster. There's, for both situations, psychic aspects that are actually, that when you're good looking, there's certain things. Good looking women aren't nice. It's absolutely genetic. It's a chosen for thing. They have a way that they are kind of like not exactly nice to other people. They can be, but they're not associated with the idea of this sort of the jolly fat girls. And it's because genetics are selfish. How do you pass them on? Fat girls have to be friendly, or their fat genes can't go on. The genes just want to go on. They get assorted by whatever sorts the genes in that society. And with especially white Americans, you could see that when you see the people who are highly advanced college education, you will find that these clusters will show up, and their behaviors are genetically determined, like up to 40% or even slightly greater. Black Americans won't grow beyond 15% of the population at this stage, absolutely, within our lifetimes, unless there's just a massive change in Black American mating patterns. Duck. Yeah, mighty duck. Hello there. Oh yeah, and look, there she is. They're hanging out. Just hanging out. Boyfriend, girlfriend. And so, yeah, I just thought I would bring that up. The rate of death among Black Americans, you see, it's so bad health, the inability to have, like, say, Black American women's deaths in childbirth. This has been studied so much now. Actuaries and everybody's, I mean, really, it's been absolutely exhaustive studies, because people are really, really, really curious. Like, this made a lot of doctors, a lot of insurance companies, like everybody kind of like, what is, you know, no matter what we control for, that, and so they found out, no, really, they just simply are more likely to die in childbirth. Nothing more, nothing less. And it's not a conspiracy. They just are. And it's because blacks are a new race. They're a mestizo new race. And so you're going to have genes that still have to assort. They have to assort by whatever cultural phenomena assorts those genes. Whether it's the victors in war, you know, the Prince Haulers and the Eastern Star women, the Kappas and I forget the female one. You know, that only they have kids, you know, that kind of thing. That assortment is something that's been going on with a variety of different groups of Europeans since the 1700s or earlier, because of the invention of the university system by the Christian Church. No, it wasn't invented by Islam. Islam killed most of its scientists because they would cite Plato or Pythagoras, and that would be considered apostasy because they're citing something outside the Quran. And so, yeah. So there we go. Thought I would just drop a little something there. Time for me to hit the grocery store before it starts storming, and talk to you all later.